Incredible discovery, lonely rancher reveals the heartwarming true story of a young Apache girl. Sam stood on the edge of his weather-beaten land, the vast Montana landscape stretching before him like a silent witness to his solitude. Each pale morning light that broke through the horizon felt heavier than the last, pressing down on him with the weight of grief over his father's loss and the suffocating burden of the family farm. The debts were piling up, just like the weeds in the fields, and he often caught himself gazing at the sprawling homes of his affluent neighbors, their success illuminating the stark contrast of his growing despair. Days blurred into nights as he endlessly toiled, only to watch his dreams slip further from reach. One crisp afternoon, seeking solace, Sam wandered into the sun-drenched hills that embraced his home. The wind whistled through the pines, echoing the silent pleas in his heart. That's when he stumbled upon the old, weathered diary, its pages crinkled yet inviting. He brushed the dust off the cover, and as he flipped through the brittle leaves, the words leaped out live from a century ago, words of a young Apache girl named Kaya. Kaya's entries sang with longing and a resilience that shook Sam to his core. Her struggles felt all too familiar, her desire for connection echoing his own loneliness. "I am a whisper in the wind," one entry read, "searching for a voice that hears me." The rawness of her emotions made his heart swell with empathy, igniting a flicker of hope. Kaya lived a life full of injustice, but her passion for preserving her identity resonated across time, urging him to honor her struggle by reaching out to those around him. That he shared his discovery with Sarah, his childhood friend who remained a steadying presence in his turbulent world. Excitedly, they envisioned a cultural event, a vibrant gathering that could bridge the gap between their town and the rich tapestry of indigenous history. At first, it felt like stepping into a light, a chance to unite their community. But that light cast long shadows. As word spread, tension simmered. Voices rose against the notion of digging up the past. "Leave it be," they shouted, anger pulsing through the gathered crowd. Sam's heart tightened with each harsh word and disapproving glare. "What does a rancher want with our history?" they questioned. Doubt gnawed at him like a rat, chipping away at his confidence as he faced the swirling storm of rejection. Amidst the resentment, he wrestled with an uncomfortable truth, one that laid bare the cruel juxtaposition of hard work and social inequality. Maybe Kaya's story shouldn't come to light, he thought, despair wrapping around him like an iron chain. But just as the weight of their discontent lodged in his throat, the diary revealed a stunning connection. Intricately woven into Sam's own family history was a link to Kaya that shattered everything he believed about himself. Standing at this emotional crossroads, just moments before unveiling their event, Sam felt unsteady. What if their efforts to honor Kaya led to healing or merely further division? What if embracing our scars could reunite us? His heart raced with fear and hope. Whatever transpired, he knew he couldn't walk away now. The shadows of the past stirred restlessly, and he felt their pull. Would he have the courage to step forward? The day of the event arrived, and the air buzzed with an electric tension. Sam stood at the makeshift stage in the town square, his palms sweaty as he gripped the podium. He scanned the crowd, taking in the familiar faces that had grown up alongside him, along with newcomers drawn by curiosity. Sarah was by his side, a calming presence, her encouraging smile a beacon amid the sea of uncertainty. The sun hung low, casting a warm glow over the gathering. Sam took a deep breath. It was time to speak. He'd rehearsed his words countless times, but now they felt like a jumbled mess in his mind. He cleared his throat, fighting off the whisper of self-doubt that crept in. "Thank you all for coming," he started, his voice slightly shaky. "Today is about a story, Kaya's story, an Apache girl whose voice found its way to me through a diary." A murmur rippled through the crowd. A mixture of curiosity and skepticism. He pressed on. "Her words reflect a struggle that feels timeless, the fight for identity, connection, and understanding." As he spoke, he locked eyes with a few faces. Mr. Adler across the way, arms crossed tightly, and a woman with deep lines etched on her face, her expression skeptical yet softening. He shared Kaya's dreams, her fears, and how she longed for her people's stories to be heard. With every word about Kaya, he felt the weight of the past lift just a little, breaking the iron chain that bound him. But as the words flowed, he stumbled upon something unexpected. He spoke of his own struggles, the grief over his father's death, the burden of the ranch, and the isolation that chased him like a shadow. But I found strength in Kaya's courage. In her voice, I found my own. Silence wrapped around him. The wind rustled through the trees as if nature held its breath for Sam's next words. He took the plunge, sharing the revelation from the diary, a connection to Kaya through his own family history. My great-grandmother was part of a community that intersected with hers. I realized that in honoring Kaya, I'm also honoring my own roots. We all share a part of this story. At that moment, something shifted in the crowd. Uncertainty hung in the air, but it was laced with curiosity. Sam felt a spark, a shared recognition of their humanity in the face of history that had often divided them. Yet, not everyone was swayed. Mr. Adler finally spoke up, his voice rough with emotion and disbelief. What does it matter? That was the past. We've moved on. A wave of nods followed his words, fueling Sam's anxiety. But then, Sarah stepped forward, her passionate eyes blazing. But we can't move on without acknowledging where we came from. History whispers in our veins. Can't we find healing in understanding it? Those words stirred something deeper. Sam watched as the crowd shifted, uncertainty mingling with a newfound hope. The event was a chance to bridge divides, a moment that could spark dialogue between past and present. Yet, as Sam looked out, he felt a familiar fear creeping back in. What if this was all in vain? Would they truly come together? As conversations ignited, laughter mixed with tears, Sam stood at the edge of a transformation. But he couldn't shake the question that lingered in his heart: could the past truly heal the rifts of today? Just then, a thunderstorm brewed on the horizon. The sky darkened, threatening to overpower the light of the gathering. Sam's stomach tightened at the sudden chill. Was this a sign? As the first drops of rain began to fall, mixing the dust and hope in the air, Sam felt an undeniable urge to press on. If storms could bring fresh growth, why not this moment? Everything was about to change, and he would have to step fully into the storm or watch it wash away everything they had started. Would he have the guts to embrace whatever came next? The rain began as a gentle patter, but it quickly escalated into a steady downpour. The crowd's murmurs shifted to gasps, faces lifting as the first drops splashed against their skin. Sam could see expressions morph from curiosity into alarm, and just for a brief second, an overwhelming instinct to run washed over him. But he held his ground, heart racing. Please, everyone. Stay with me. He called out over the drumming of the rain against the metal roof of the pavilion. This storm won't stop our voices. He glanced back at Sarah, whose hair was already soaking wet, but her eyes sparkled with determination. Taking strength from her presence, Sam pressed on. Kaya's story was never about perfection or a happy ending. It's about resilience in the face of adversity. It's about standing strong even when the storm hits. His voice rose, carried by passion and urgency. The crowd's attention began to focus back on him, a few people even moving closer to shield themselves from the rain beneath the closeness of the eaves. Sam could see Mr. Adler still looking skeptical, arms crossed, but even he seemed less defensive than before. As the rain poured down, it mirrored the emotions flooding Sam's heart. Kaya lost her family, her identity, but she kept searching for connection and understanding. We all know loss, and we all seek healing in our own ways. But healing can only happen if we're willing to face it together. A few people nodded now, some wiping away droplets from their faces, others catching each other's eyes with hesitant smiles. It was just a ripple, but it felt monumental. Sam stepped down from the podium slightly, looking around at their faces, young and old, hurt and hopeful, all woven together by a shared history they had often ignored. This isn't just Kaya's story, it's ours. Each time we choose to ignore our histories, we allow shadows to grow. Instead, let us face them together, let us shed light on our pasts. The rain intensified, but it no longer felt like a torrent tearing them apart. Instead, it felt like cleansing, like washing away layers of misunderstanding and fear. Sam's heart beat faster as he saw some members of the crowd starting to talk amongst themselves, voices rising above the sound of raindrops. Suddenly, Mr. Adler stepped forward, shaking off his earlier defensiveness. And what if we don't know how? How do we begin to understand something we thought was buried? His voice wasn't harsh now, it was genuine, searching for answers. By sharing, Sarah answered, stepping beside Sam, her hand resting on his arm. By talking. By listening. Every voice matters. Rain dripped from both their hair and faces, but Sam felt the warmth of connection sparking like wildfire between them. It was a moment ripe with possibility, like earth after rain. Just then, an older man from the back shouted, "My grandfather had a story like that. A tale of a young girl lost, but he found her again. It was our family's tale of survival." Excited murmurs erupted, people straining to hear, a community suddenly eager to share their narratives. Sam took a breath, the shift around him igniting hope. What if we all share our stories? What if, together, we could unearth the treasures of our past and weave them into something new? As the crowd began to shift, stepping toward one another, their stories bubbling to the surface, Sam felt a pang of realization. This storm was not just a literal downpour but a metaphorical one, a cleansing of their shared histories, and new growth was finally beginning to sprout. Fear and excitement danced in the depths of his heart. Would they embrace the challenges ahead? Could they take this momentum and turn it into real change? In that flood of voices, amid laughter turning to tears once more, Sam knew something deeper was waiting to be discovered. But the storm still raged above, foreshadowing that this was only the beginning of their journey. What would happen when the rain stopped, and the real work started? The rain continued its relentless march, echoing above as the crowd began to hum with energy. Sam could feel it, an electric charge of shared vulnerability that connected them all. Faces, once shadowed by disbelief, now shone with expectation. One by one, people stepped forward to share their stories, voices trembling at first, but gaining strength with each word. A woman spoke of her grandmother, a refugee who fled her homeland, carrying only a single photograph of a life left behind. An older teenager recounted how his family had grappled with the effects of addiction, feeling like they were swimming against an unforgiving tide. Listening, Sam's heart swelled. Each tale shared was a piece of a larger puzzle, the gaps and fractures of their pasts being filled in. It was beautiful, it was painful. Then, Mr. Adler, the town's most feared critic, surprised everyone again. His voice rose, deep and wavering. I lost my brother in the war. I never talked about it. Didn't he think it was worth mentioning? The crowd fell silent, the rain's rhythm juxtaposed with the pounding of hearts. But, he was a hero to me. The air thickened with emotion, and tears welled in many eyes. This was a moment of revelation, a leap into the chasm of collective grief. Sam felt an overwhelming gratitude towards Mr. Adler. This rough man, who had built walls for so long, was finally letting them fall. Isn't that the point? Sarah interjected gently. Those stories matter. They shape who we are together, we can heal and understand each other. As she spoke, the gathering storm above them seemed to mimic the journey of their shared narratives. It was as though the very heavens were joining in the cathartic release, each drop a reminder that cleansing could be beautiful and essential. Sam glanced over at Sarah, who was now smiling with pride. He could see the impact they were making rippling outwards, drawing more voices into the growing circle of vulnerability. Just then, a young girl, perhaps 10 years old, nervously tugged at her mother's sleeve, looking up with the courage of childhood. I have a story too. She piped up, her voice shaking slightly. The crowd hushed, eager to listen. It's about my cat, Coco. She got lost, and I thought I'd never see her again. But then one day, she came back, right when I needed her. She was my best friend. Laughter mixed with tears broke out, the crowd warmed by the innocence and truth of her words. "See. You all can relate," Sam said, beaming. "It's about finding connection in places we least expect." Encouragement surged, and soon more people stood, sharing stories of hope and loss, love and struggle. The moment felt transcendent, as if they were all being molded into something greater than themselves, but then, a crack of thunder rolled overhead, echoing through the pavilion with a sudden ferocity. A gust of wind ripped past, stirring the crowd into a frenzy. Distant flashes of lightning illuminated the sky like errant memories, and Sam's heart raced anew. Thoughts of scattered stories and unfinished connections loomed large, just like the storm. "Everyone, let us step inside. We can continue this conversation," Sam shouted above the chaos. He felt the weight of what began here today pressing down on him like the rain. As the crowd surged forward, rushing toward the nearest doorway, he caught Sarah's gaze. "We did it, Sam," she laughed, breathless from the thrill and chaos. "But it's only just begun. I feel there's so much more we need to uncover." As they reached the door, Sam paused. The connection they had ignited felt fragile, like the calm before another storm. Was this just the beginning of their reckoning? What hidden truths lay beneath the surface, waiting to be revealed? The rain lashed down in unison with his racing thoughts. There was a storm waiting to break free, even when this one finally passed. What secrets would emerge when they returned to the shelter, and would they be strong enough to bear them? As they stumbled into the shelter, the crowd buzzed with anticipation. Warm lights flickered overhead, casting soft halos on anxious faces. Sam took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the stories shared outside pressing in like the storm. There was an electrifying tension in the room, a cocktail of hope and trepidation, mirrored in the eyes of the listeners as they settled into chairs and nooks. "Let us gather in a circle," Sarah suggested, her voice carrying the familiar authority of someone who knew how to navigate a room. Sam joined her at the center, gazing around at the faces that had come alive with emotion. They looked like they were on the precipice of something big. Once everyone was seated, Sam felt the atmosphere shift. "We've shared pieces of our lives, and it's incredible how much we have in common. We've faced struggles and joys, losses and loves." There were nods of agreement, gentle murmurs of acknowledgement drifting through the circle. His heart raced. "But what we just experienced, this is just the beginning. How can we use our stories to lift each other?" A few people leaned forward, their interest piqued, eager to forge a deeper connection. A man named Bill, known for his quiet nature and hard-working spirit, spoke up. "I think it's about more than just sharing. It's about listening and showing up for each other." The crowd shifted, a wave of agreement rippling through their ranks. "Exactly. We can build something great from this," Sarah insisted. She glanced at Sam, her eyes sparkling. "What if we start a community project? Something that brings attention to our stories and the struggles we face." Sam pondered over her words. A community project, it sounded ambitious but necessary. "What do you have in mind?" he asked, his curiosity ignited. Bill's voice trembled slightly. "Maybe we could create a mural. Each person can add a piece of themselves to it. Something that illustrates who we are, where we come from." The idea fell like rain on parched ground, soaking in quickly. Sam could hardly believe it, an art project crafting a visual language of their shared experience. He felt a wave of warmth spread across his chest, picturing the mural coming to life under their hands. "What about the stories behind the art?" Another woman chimed in. "We could record the stories as we go." "How powerful would that be?" Excitement crackled through the group. Plans forming, based on a foundation of love and pain shared. As they brainstormed, Sam couldn't help but glance toward Sarah. It was as if she had opened a door to a new way of thinking. They were not just individuals carrying burdens, they were a tapestry woven together through resilience and understanding. But then the storm faced them once more, the thunder crashing outside as if to remind them of the challenges lurking just beyond the shelter's walls. Fear, doubt, and past wounds rose to the fore. Would they truly be able to come together and unify their experiences into something beautiful and lasting? Sam took a deep breath. He needed to address their collective hesitation. I know it's scary, he began, to put yourselves out there again. But every single one of you has a story worth telling. We can't give up now. There were murmurs of agreement, but the shadows of fear lingered, hiding in the corners of the room. Just then, the door creaked open, drawing everyone's attention. A figure stumbled in the silhouette, tall and drenched. As the light swung toward them, the room gasped collectively. Who? Sam's heart raced again. What new chapter was about to unfold with this unexpected arrival? The figure stepped closer, revealing an uncertain face marked by a deep frown, water cascading off their slick hair. As they locked eyes with Sam, he felt a chill dance down his spine. I need to share my story too. The newcomer's voice was shaky but determined. What revelations awaited hidden in their tale, and could this stranger hold the key to unearthing more connections or completely unravel the bond they had just begun to form? The atmosphere in the room thickened with anticipation as the stranger stepped forward, their presence heavy with an unspoken burden. Sam could see intensity in their eyes, a mix of vulnerability and urgency. The moment crackled with potential, the kind that could either bond them tighter or send them spiraling apart. Please, the newcomer said, their voice a fragile whisper that fought against the backdrop of the storm outside. I've been searching for a safe place to talk, to be heard. Sam felt a pull toward this person, his protective instincts kicking in. You're safe here, he assured, his voice steady. We want to hear your story. As the words hung in the air, Sarah moved closer, nodding in solidarity. The group leaned in, eager to lend an ear. The stranger drew a ragged breath, visibly grappling with emotions that churned just beneath the surface. My name is Alex, they began, eyes darting around the circle before settling back on Sam. I was raised on a ranch not far from here. My life was simple, mundane even, until one day changed everything. A murmur of empathy rippled through the crowd. The tension shifted from anxiety to something softer, a space for connection. Sam could see it in their faces. They were ready to embrace whatever journey Alex was about to unfold. There was a girl, Alex continued, their voice gaining strength with each word. An Apache girl named Nia. She used to come to the ranch to help with the horses. She had this wild spirit. I'd never met anyone like her. But that summer, when I finally worked up the courage to tell her how I felt, she vanished. Gasps mingled with whispers, the room vibrating with the collective impact of lost opportunity and longing. Sam's heart raced in sympathy as he thought of his own regrets. She had to go back to her people, leaving behind stories she promised to tell me. Alex pressed on, their voice thick with longing. One day she just stopped coming, and I never learned what happened to her until recently. Recently? Bill echoed, leaning forward. Yes, Alex nodded, casting a glance out into the storm as if the memories swirled out there too. I found her again. Her family, her community invited me to their gathering. They told me stories of her bravery, how she had been leading initiatives to preserve their culture, and how she still thinks of the people at the ranch. The air in the room shifted again, a whisper of hope intertwining with tragedy. Sam felt the weight of their shared connection intensify as they listened to Alex reclaim memories that once felt lost. But it was so much more than just learning about Nia, Alex confessed, their voice quivering with emotion. It was about realizing the bond we shared, how intertwined our lives really were. It made me question everything. What does it mean to belong? To be a part of something bigger than yourself? The crowd was spellbound, hanging on every word. There were nods of understanding. Everyone present had faced questions of identity, of belonging. But what if there is still a way to honor her? Alex's voice wavered, vulnerability exposed. What if we could create something, a mural perhaps? To reflect not just our stories, but the stories of those we love, those who have touched us. Sam's heart leaped at the idea. Yes. Just like what we were talking about. He exclaimed, recognizing the magnetic pull of a shared vision. Energized murmurs spread like wildfire through the group. Hope ignited anew. They could weave together fragments of their lives, honoring not just their individual experiences but those of others who had shaped them too. As ideas began to bounce around, excitement lit up the room, but underlying it all was the same apprehension mixed with anticipation. Were they ready to dig deeper, to explore emotional connections in a world that often seemed fractured? Alex looked around, their determination radiating. I want to bring Nia's story into this. She deserves that. We all do. As enthusiasm wrapped around them, Sam's mind raced with thoughts of the challenges ahead, of the risks they would face in laying their souls bare. Something deep inside told him this was just the beginning of their journey, a journey that could change everything, but just then, the wind outside howled fiercely, as if echoing their fears back at them. Sam felt a flicker of doubt. Would they be brave enough to turn their intentions into actions, to share not just the beautiful parts, but also the raw and painful? The storm outside might have raged, but something even stronger churned inside the shelter. With the flame of determination renewed, one thought lingered in Sam's mind: could this be the moment they break through the walls they had built around their hearts? The storm continued to batter the shelter, the sound of rain thundering against the roof like a restless spirit. Sam could barely hear his own thoughts over the cacophony. He looked at Alex, who stood at the center of the circle, their expression a mixture of hope and vulnerability. There was so much more to this story, so many threads waiting to be pulled. Let's dive into this, Sam said, his voice resolute, barely containing the energy in the room. Creating a mural is a beautiful way to honor Nia. But we need to dig deeper. What does each of us want to share? What stories do we want to tell alongside hers? The circle quieted, everyone considering the question. Sarah crossed her arms, her brow furrowed. I do want to share the story of my grandfather. He immigrated alone when he was young. He worked hard to provide for our family, always telling me that every brush stroke of his life added to the canvas of who I am today. Wow, Alex whispered, captivated. That's powerful. Others began to share too, drawn in by the energy of the moment. Bill spoke of his childhood in a neighborhood marked by tragedy yet filled with collective joy. Maria revealed her experience of losing her sister but finding solace in the art they shared. Each tale woven into a tapestry that began to feel alive, each story breathing alongside the other. As they spoke, Sam watched the emotions cycle through the group: laughter, tears, nostalgia. It was an overwhelming experience, the kind that made his heart swell and ache at the same time. He could feel the walls around his own heart crumbling little by little. But how do we actually do this? Jake asked, his brows knitted in contemplation. I mean, where do we even start? Let's brainstorm, Sam suggested, feeling a surge of creativity ignite within him. We could collaborate with local artists, bring in colors that represent not just our experiences, but Nia's culture too. We can make it a community-wide experience. This mural at LL become a part of all of us. Let's make it interactive, Alex added, excitement lighting their eyes. We could have a space for everyone to contribute, to leave their mark. It would be like a reflection of our journey together. The discussion sparked with new ideas. Their voices wove together, blending enthusiasm and determination, taking on a life of their own. Each contribution became an unexpected revelation, turning their collective grief into something beautiful, something cohesive, but deep inside, Sam couldn't shake the worries threading through his mind. Each story shared was a glimpse into vulnerability, and he felt the weight of his own untold truth pressing down harder. What would he contribute? What dark secrets and regrets lay tangled in his past? As the storm howled outside, Sam took a deep breath. We can all share in this, but I think some of us have deeper emotional ties. It's okay to open up, but let us not rush it. We need to be gentle with ourselves and with each other. Nods echoed through the room, a silent agreement wrapping around them. There was something powerful in their shared determination, a promise that the journey would be taken step by step, revealing the different shades of their stories. I'll go first, Sam said, his voice trembling slightly as he felt every eye upon him. There's so much I haven't talked about. About regret, loss, and how it's shaped me. But I want to be part of this. I owe it to Nia. To you. The flickering light cast shadows on Sam's face, illuminating the vulnerability he'd hidden for so long. The energy in the room shifted again, thick with understanding and a hesitant kind of bravery, and then, a sharp crash of thunder echoed outside, causing everyone to jump slightly. The wind outside screamed louder, seeming to challenge their good intentions. Alex looked solemn but determined. We're all scared. But that's what makes this important. If we can face our fears here, we can face anything beyond these walls. Sam nodded, still trembling with uncertainty. An urge to flee from this emotional exposure flickered inside him, but he locked eyes with Alex. This was a pivotal moment, a turning point. Could they all gather the strength to bare their souls? Would the storm outside mirror the chaos of emotions within? He exhaled, whispering to himself, this is just the beginning. I have to be brave. In the next instant, Sam's heart raced with a mix of resolve and anxiety, as he prepared to share the burden he'd carried alone for too long. The air felt thick with anticipation as Sam opened his mouth to speak. Words fought to break free, each fighting against the emotion that clung to his throat. He glanced around the circle, locking eyes with Sarah, her expression encouraging. He took a deep breath, trying to steady the quakes in his chest. You see, I lost my brother a few years ago, he began, his voice wavering slightly. He was my best friend. We were inseparable, always getting into trouble together. But then, he was gone. Just like that. A collective breath filled the room, the storm rattling the walls as if it felt their pain too. Sam continued, he struggled with being seen, always overlooked. I should have done more to help. I thought I had time to fix it. His voice cracked as he shared how guilt had wrapped itself around him like chains, holding him back from truly moving forward. I often think about what I could have done differently. How many moments I let slip by. The group listened intently, each person's heart aching for Sam. They could see his struggle reflected in their own stories, moments lost, words left unspoken. Creating this mural isn't just about honoring Nia, he pressed on, feeling more alive with each sentence. It's my chance to honor my brother too. To make sure the weight of our stories doesn't crush us. That they are seen, celebrated. Tears pooled in Sarah's eyes, and Alex reached out, their brave energy encouraging him. He felt lighter now, the weight of his sorrow not completely gone, but somehow more bearable in the presence of his friends. What colors would represent our stories? Maria piped up after a moment of silence. What about vibrant yellows or deep blues? We can really bring this mural to life. For Nia. For Sam and for all of us. The idea sparked something within the group, the discussion turning once again into laughter and brainstorming. Colors that celebrated loss, healing, and resilience danced in the air around them. Sam marveled at this transformation, the way pain had turned to purpose. He watched as their spirits lifted, as more stories flowed like a river of understanding. They stepped into their fears instead of running from them. What had felt like an insurmountable wall was beginning to feel like a bridge, connecting them through their shared experiences. As inspiration surged, Jake suddenly said, you know, what if we had an unveiling ceremony when the mural is complete? A day where everyone can come together, share their stories, and celebrate this journey? Yes. Echoed Sarah, her excitement contagious. A celebration. Let us not just paint, let us bring in food, music, everything. A real tribute to those we love and to the community. The room buzzed with energy, every suggestion weaving another thread into their tapestry of hope. Sam felt reinvigorated, visions of the mural forming in his mind. He could see it, the colors, the figures, the stories coming together in vibrant strokes, but as the storm rattled with renewed vigor outside, Sam was reminded of the chaos still present. What if he hesitated, a new thought brewing? What if we had a memory wall too? Something where people can write their names or messages for those they miss. It could be a part of the mural itself. The group paused, considering the idea. The concept of a personal connection sparked something deeper, inviting others to join their journey in sharing, remembering. Yet a small voice within Sam still whispered doubts. Could they truly pull it all together? Would this community truly embrace the effort? Let us start reaching out to the local artists, Alex suggested, breaking through his thoughts. They can help guide us and inspire us too. Sam nodded, drawn back into the shared urgency. They had only just begun to unravel stories that needed to be told, fire igniting among them. As the thunder rolled overhead, he felt hope swelling in his chest. They could face anything together. This could become a moment of real change, where every brush stroke carried the weight of their hearts. But in that swirling excitement, a shadow slipped over him. It wasn't just about sharing stories anymore, it was about the unknown truths that loomed ahead. What else would they uncover in this process? What new revelations awaited them as they delved deeper into their pasts? Sam's heart danced unsteadily with anticipation and fear, the storm outside echoing the storm of emotions brewing within. He clenched his fists, feeling the energy in the room shift once more. Nothing felt certain, but perhaps that uncertainty was the very essence of what made them alive. With renewed resolve, he spoke again, "Let us make this a real journey for all of us, but we need to promise one thing. No holding back. We need to be open." And as they all nodded in agreement, Sam knew the real work was just beginning. Would they be able to come together, knowing the depths of their own pain? Would this mural truly become the legacy they all longed for? The excitement in the room surged, pulsing like the storm outside. Sam felt the warmth of connection wrap around him, but it didn't erase the flicker of uncertainty gnawing at his gut. He watched his friends, the way their faces lit up with shared purpose, each one a mirror reflecting determination and hope. Yet in the back of his mind lingered the question, could this fragile unity withstand the weight of their truths? "Okay," Sarah chimed in, bringing everyone back after the moment of silent reflection. "If we're starting to reach out to local artists, we should plan a meeting soon. Let us brainstorm what we want the mural to represent." "Right," Jake added, his confidence clearly growing. "And let us also think about how we can involve the community. We have friends and family who might want to contribute." Sam's heart sped up at the thought. Their mural could become more than just a tribute, it could embrace an entire community's journey of healing. "Let us set a date for the meeting, then," he urged, feeling the rush of action spark a new kind of hope in him. "We can create a group on social media too, invite everyone from town." "Count me in," Maria exclaimed, her hands animated with excitement. "We can share stories, maybe even hold workshops. I can reach out to the local libraries and schools, maybe they'd like to get involved." The floodgates that were slowly creaking opened wider as ideas flew around the room. Each voice built upon the last, every suggestion adding another brushstroke to their vision. Sam leaned back, letting their energy wash over him, even as his mind raced with possibilities. A sudden flash of lightning illuminated their faces, and the group gasped, huddling closer together, laughter bubbling up like a buoy in the storm. "It's just a light show to inspire our mural," Alex joked, earning chuckles that pushed the tension away. But as the laughter faded, Sam felt a tightening in his chest again. What about those who might not feel comfortable sharing their stories? He posed, his voice quieter now. What if they feel isolated from all of this? "Everyone has a story," Sarah replied gently, a seriousness settling into her tone. "We just have to create a space where they feel safe. It's about showing them that they're not alone." "Incredible!" Jake exclaimed. "We could make the memory wall a part of that. A space for those who might want to keep their messages private. Just writing down a name or a word." Sam could see it now. A space adorned with heartfelt notes. Colorful memories intertwined with swirling colors on the mural, creating a visual of their collective experiences. Yet as he envisioned this, a shadow of doubt crept in again. What if the vulnerability that had brought them together became a wall instead? The group began to disperse for the night, leaving Sam with his thoughts. The storm had shifted, thunder rumbling like distant applause as he walked home alone, drenched in both excitement and trepidation. Questions swirled in his mind like the wind gusting outside. Could they truly create a space for everyone? What if someone opened up too much, revealing secrets that no one else was ready to hear? Or worse, what if the rawness of their truths pushed them apart instead of pulling them closer? He reached his front porch, shaking off the rain, feeling small against the vastness of the night. Moments before entering, he turned back to look at the dark, tempestuous sky. "We will honor them," he whispered aloud, more to himself than anyone else. As he crossed the threshold, a flicker of light caught his eye in the window, not from inside his house, but a faint glow from the direction of the old community center. Suddenly, an overwhelming sense of destiny washed over him. Sam's heart raced. What if that light held answers? What if it housed a truth that could bind their stories together in a way they never expected? Without a second thought, Sam began walking toward the flicker, the rhythm of the storm echoing his own heartbeat, fast, anxious, yet alive with purpose. Sam stood at the door of the old community center, a torrent of emotions rising within him. The storm raged overhead, but the faint glow from within beckoned like a lighthouse guiding ships to safety. He pushed open the door, apprehensive but driven by a curious hope. Inside, the air felt charged, crackling with raw energy. The room was filled with the community members he had seen at the event, their faces illuminated by the single lamp that swung gently from the ceiling, casting soft shadows against the walls. In that moment, Sam could feel the collective heart of the town beating louder than the storm outside. He stepped in, scanning the room as familiar voices reached his ears, blending with laughter and whispers of encouragement. "We've all been affected by loss, haven't we?" A woman's voice broke through, as Sam caught snippets of conversations about family, friendship, and connection. Memories poured from their mouths like vibrant paint, vibrant strokes being applied to the canvas of their healing mural. Sam took a deep breath and joined the small cluster of people gathered at a table. Sarah turned toward him, her expression bright and enthusiastic. "You came. We're just beginning the floor plan for the mural. It's going to be epic." "What's happening?" Sam asked, intrigued. "They've been sharing stories in smaller circles," she replied, glancing around to include the others. "Did you know that Maria and her sister often painted together? They would use the old barn as their canvas." The mention of Maria's sister tugged at Sam's heart, reminding him of the layers of grief that lay beneath their seemingly ordinary lives. He could feel the unity lifting, wrapping around him like warm blankets on a cold night. "Let's put that on the mural," someone shouted excitedly. They began to place each story, weaving them together. "And remember that young girl Finley spoke about who felt shunned? Her story can be a part of this too." A sense of empowerment surged through Sam. This was the thread that bound them all. The tapestry was becoming stronger. As discussions swirled around him, he caught a glimpse of Mr. Adler at a corner table, sketching ideas with a concentrated look. The hard exterior he once thought he understood melted away as he shared flickers of his own truth in the form of adroit sketches that captured emotions he had never dared to express. "Sam." Sarah's voice cut through his thoughts. "You should share more about your brother. It might help others find their courage." He hesitated. Sharing that grief felt raw, still aching like an open wound. But beneath the fear, a flicker of determination ignited. Wouldn't he owe it to the collective spirit of healing to speak his truth? "All right," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "I'll share." Taking a deep breath, Sam recounted the story of his brother, the burden of guilt that often clouded his heart. As the words fell from his lips, he felt each tremor of vulnerability met with compassion and understanding. He could see the crowd leaning in, absorbing his pain not as an intrusion but as part of the growing shared narrative. When he finished, silence enveloped the room, followed by a soft swell of applause. Tears brimmed in many eyes, connecting them through grief and healing once more. In that moment, Sam felt a wave of acceptance wash over him. Whatever storms lingered in the corners of their lives, they were now collective storms, a reminder that healing was always possible when faced together. As discussions continued, plans flourished. The energy was palpable, buzzing through the air as they began combing through ideas for their mural. Each suggestion layered upon the last, intertwining their journeys. They talked of using colors to reflect their stories, capturing shadows of grief alongside bright bursts of joy. Outside, the thunder cracked, a powerful reminder that storms had a way of reshaping landscapes, just like their experiences. "Let us set a date for the unveiling ceremony," Alex suggested, stirring excitement. "This is powerful imagination at play, we need to celebrate it." Cheers erupted, laughter carrying forth as they swirled into the energy of possibility. Sam could see a shift happening. The storm that once felt like an insurmountable wall was transforming into a bridge, carrying them toward understanding and connection. Amidst the infectious excitement, Sam caught Sarah's gaze, her smile radiating a warmth that made him feel anchored amidst the chaos. He knew they were just scratching the surface. The journey wouldn't be easy, but it would be worth every step, and just then, his heart swelled with gratitude. "Let us not only honor our pasts but also build undying connections for the future," Sam said, feeling the strength of every word. With renewed determination, the group rallied together, igniting a spark that would illuminate their community in ways they never expected. The storm still rumbled outside, but its ferocity no longer intimidated them. Instead, they decided to embrace it as a reminder of resilience, treasure hunting through the emotional downpours of life. Their journey was just beginning, but it was a journey filled with promise, a tapestry being woven through laughter and tears, colors and stories, community and understanding. And as Sam walked home that night, he felt lighter, the burdens of regret being replaced with a vision of hope. This was only the beginning. It was time for them to rise together, to share their stories, and to breathe life into the vibrant mural waiting to be born. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, because every click counts. Comment below your reactions, your own stories, or even just your feelings about this inspiring ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Show them the power of community. Let us keep this momentum going.